Meanwhile, is the work of Washington continuing? I know, stop smirking. I said the work of Washington. Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi joins us now. You know, Raja, I thought after knowing you for a little while, I'd be able to actually nail your last name. I still haven't pulled it off.
Hey, good morning, Steve and Dave. Thank you so much for having me on. I don't know if I told you this, but I recently approached an audience and introduced myself. Hi, my name is Raja Krishnamoorthi. And one guy came up to me and said, Roger Christian Murphy. Very nice to meet you. So people do with my name as they please, and that's fine.
Krishnamoorthi. I've got it. See, I knew I could do it. There's a couple of pieces of legislation that you are working on out of your office I wanted to mention with kids going back to school and back to college right now. There's a lot of kids who aren't necessarily right for a 4-year college education. That's perfectly fine. Are we doing enough on the community college level to make sure we're job training people for careers and for tech jobs?
We're starting to, but we're not doing enough. And you're right. You know, a 4-year college or university degree may not be for everybody, but an education has to be. And that means getting a certification or a credential or a skill set in order to get a job. And so what this bill does, it's affectionately dubbed the Thompson-Krishnamurti Act. It's the longest title bill in Congress. It modernizes our career technical education laws to do two things. One, it basically moves authority from Washington down to states and the local level, specifically community colleges and high schools, to spend the money that we currently do on job training. And then secondly, it does something that really we haven't done before, which is it makes sure that job training dollars are spent in coordination with employers to make sure that, you know, the skills that we train our young people on or people going through a career transition are ones that employers want. And so I'm really excited about it. Congressman Thompson, a Republican from Pennsylvania, and I have worked hard on it, and it passed not only with bipartisan support, but unanimously through the House. And now we're awaiting a positive outcome in the Senate, and then the White House has already signaled that it wants to sign it. So
I don't understand why the Senate wouldn't take it up immediately. What's the problem there?
Well, you may have heard about what the Committee of Jurisdictions, the Health and Education Committee, was working on lately, namely Obamacare. And it just gummed up the works, quite frankly, in terms of, preventing other matters from coming before the committee and then going to the Senate floor. I'm really hoping that they take this up. We desperately need a bipartisan win, Steve and Dave, and this is one that, to me, employers, management, Democrats, Republicans, labor, and even Sox and Cubs fans can all agree on.
We're talking with Congressman Raja, and for the folks in your district, I know you get a lot of feedback all the time. We all were upset about what happened in Charlottesville, and the statistics about the rise in hate crime in this country are frightening and repulsive. What is the legislation you're hoping to get accomplished out of that situation?
Okay, so switching gears a little bit, with regard to that particular issue, I proposed basically a bipartisan independent commission to study the rise in hate crimes, extremism, prejudice, and bigotry that unfortunately have afflicted a lot of different people. You're seeing a huge rise in anti-Semitism, but you're also seeing, Islamophobia, anti-Hindu, anti-Sikh, anti-Latino, LGBTQ sentiment on the rise. And this is something that we have to deal with, and we have to do it on a bipartisan basis. I'm so heartened that so many Republicans condemned what happened in Charlottesville and then actually criticized the president and the administration for its initial response. Now we have to do something about it. It's time, the words are fine, the sentiments are okay, and now we have to do something. And so this is an idea that I hope gains steam on both sides. I should just mention one other thing. There's a group called Life After Hate that's based in Chicago. It's based in Chicago, and it's done a fabulous job of combating anti-Semitism, activity by Klansmen, and so forth. And unfortunately, the administration cut its funding, okay, even at the same time that the FBI issued a report in the rise of white supremacism. And so Congressman Davis, in whose district that particular group is based, and I wrote a letter to the acting secretary of the Department of Homeland Security basically questioning, why would you ever do that? Why would you, at the same time that you are, noting an increase in hate crimes, try to cut funding for a group that's fighting those hate crimes? So this is a big, political problem that we're trying to deal with, and we're hoping that there's progress here.
Before I let you go, obviously funding for FEMA to take care as much as possible of the people in Texas is going to be a very important issue going forward. How much of the, well, you didn't want to help New York and now you want to help Texas, yeah, we'll step up, even though you didn't Ted Cruz, even though you didn't John Cornyn, whoever. Are we going to hear a lot of that, or is this going to be fast-tracked as far as what you're hearing so far?
Well, first of all, all of our thoughts and prayers go to the victims of the hurricane, and I am heartened by the incredible acts of volunteerism and kindness. I heard about the Cajun Navy that's come into being to rescue so many people.
Yeah, how cool is that story?
Yeah, isn't that amazing? The number of people that just came from all over the South and other parts with their boats to rescue people. It's such a, like you were saying before I came on, I think, there is a silver lining in this, that we're seeing so many acts of bravery, courage, kindness coming out of this. With regard to FEMA funding, I should note that the president proposed to cut FEMA by $670 million. Prior to Hurricane Harvey. He also proposed to cut the National Weather Service, the National Flood Insurance Program, National Oceanic Administration Agency, which predicts these weather events, and he cut almost 10% of the budget for disaster relief. In my humble opinion, these types of cuts are ill-advised, especially in light of what's happened here with Hurricane Harvey. I think you're going to see a move to restore these monies because we got to prepare in advance for the next weather events that are going to come down the pike. And then secondly, I do think that people on both sides of the aisle are going to come together to provide relief for the victims of Hurricane Harvey. I mean, I think that this is, in my opinion, the role and function of government to aid people in their lowest time, and so I hope we come together on a bipartisan basis to deal with that. But I also hope that we pass a debt ceiling and a spending plan without incident.
Available in all states. Hey,
drama.
Tracy, heard you started your own business.
Yep,
Stand by
a recent
1
Arby's
second.
frozen yogurt vending franchise. It's
I'm
the
not
latest
quite
revolution
sure
in
what
healthy frozen
happened
yogurt.
there. That was that me? Was that I don't know what happened there. We had a little
Was
technical.
that the Russians?
We had a little technical issue there, where suddenly there was a yogurt commercial in the middle of our conversation. I apologize for that. All well said by you, and less fighting and more accomplishments is what needs to happen. I think of the people of Washington, Illinois, not being able to get disaster relief on a federal basis at the level it should have come because of the money arguments at FEMA, and we need to get together the way the neighbors there and the way the militias there have stepped up and do the right thing. When people need help in this country, that's what we do. We step up.
That's right. I think we got to put the politics and rhetoric aside and just come together and do the right thing on this and a number of other issues, Steve and Dave. I think we have to learn a lesson from what we're seeing today in Houston and apply it in Washington, D.C. as well.
Thanks for the time. As always, when people want to contact you at your office, what's the website?
It's just www.krishnamorthi.house.gov.
www.krishnamorthi.house.gov. And when you tried to convince,
it's a long one.
when you tried to convince the government IT guy to just go with Raja, what did he tell you? We can't do that.
We don't. That's against protocol.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. I said the same thing, and they said no way. If anybody wants to visit my website, you can just Google Raja, Raja, and I'm the only one in Congress.